So the whole premise of our comedy of errors is that it starts when the final whistle of a football match has been blown. And we're trying to fit as many tenuous football references as we possibly can into the show. So it's going to be fun.
This episode is supported by a proper local clinic just outside of Bishop Stortford. Most people don't wake up planning to see a chiropractor. It's the stiff neck that won't ease, the bad back that's killing your sleep, or that pain that suddenly makes work and family life harder. Takeley Chiropractic help people get out of pain and, even more importantly, stay out of pain. They don't rush you. They take time to understand you and make you feel better. They want to understand what you want to get back to doing, whether that's work, sport, or just spending time with your family. They're a local team, highly qualified, and recently they won an award for outstanding patient care. Have a look at takeleychiropractic.co.uk and see what they're all about.
Welcome to the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast, the show where we shine a light on the incredible businesses, community leaders and local legends shaping our town. I'm your host, James O'Donnell, and today we are joined by Richard Pink. Richard, great
Hello.
to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Richard, for those of us who don't know you yet, who are you and what do you do here in Stortford?
Well, I've been in Bishop Stortford since 2002. I had a kind of a little bit of a hiatus just before that when I went to Manchester, and then I was in Bishop Stortford from the late 80s, actually. So I've been here quite a while now. For virtually all of that time, I've been a member of the Water Lane Theatre Company. I was chairman of it a couple of times back in the day. But really, for all of that time, I've been either directing or acting with them, and we put on a couple of shows a year. And I've been very involved with it since I actually moved to the area.
And what show are we working on at the moment, or what are we building up towards?
I'm glad you asked. The show we're on at the moment is Comedy of Errors. I've particularly keen on doing Shakespeare outdoors. I have been for a long, long time now. I've got, I'm going to just swing my camera around here. You can see those are the last three shows that I did outdoors. So I've done, I think, just checking over my shoulder, Love's Labour's Lost, Midsummer Night's Dream and Twelfth Night. And so this will be the fourth one that I've directed, I think, in the last maybe 10 years or so. So it's Comedy of Errors, but I tend to always want to put an unusual spin on it. You know, it's never kind of roughs and cod pieces when I do a Shakespeare outdoors. It's always got a particular theme to it. Comedy of Errors is a lot of fun. This year it's going to be in 4 different venues rather than sticking to the one venue. So it's a bit unusual, this one.
And what's the spin that you've thrown on Comedy of Errors?
Football.
Okay.
Yeah. The premise behind it, I mean, if anybody kind of knows Comedy of Errors, it's Shakespeare's shortest play, and it does rock it once you get past the first scene. The first scene is actually quite slow. So there's a challenge from a directorial point of view as to how to kind of put some energy into it. But once it gets past that first scene, it rockets. The premise of it, if anybody knows Comedy of Errors, is that basically there's 2 twins who've kind of reunited during the course of the play. Oh, spoiler alert. But there's also kind of like a subplot of everybody being in the wrong place at the wrong time, if you like. And if you don't talk about religion and you don't talk about politics, the one place you can be in the wrong place in the wrong time is the wrong football supporter in the wrong town. You know, you kind of feel about when you think about these kind of local rivalries, like, in this neck of the woods, I guess Arsenal, Tottenham, or Everton, Liverpool, Glasgow, Celtic, that sort of thing. Rangers and Celtic, I should say. So I kind of transferred that feeling of being the wrong guy in the wrong town to a football match. So the whole premise of our Comedy of Errors is that it starts when the final whistle of a football match has been blown. And we're trying to fit as many tenuous football references as we possibly can into the show. So it's going to be fun.
So you haven't changed any of the words. It's just the actions that are happening whilst the words are being spoken?
We haven't changed the words as such. We may have adapted it slightly to make it a little more modern. I remember when I did the last one, Twelfth Night, I didn't realise how much adaptation we'd actually done, to the point where somebody came up to me at the end of it and said, "Oh, who wrote the play?" And it's kind of like, well, Shakespeare, but, you know, it's... But no, we tried very much to keep to the text that was written down. Although, a lot of, if you've seen the Shakespeare, you'll know that a lot of it can be totally irrelevant to a modern audience. So we've done a bit of cutting, but then that's kind of normal. Even the RSC cut it, so I kind of figure I can get away with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And what about Shakespeare lends itself to being outdoors as well? Because it's quite a common practice, isn't it?
It does. I think it's more of a kind of like a traditional thing, because obviously Shakespeare was always done in the open air anyway. It was when in the Globe Theatre and in the Swan. It was open air theatre, albeit in a surrounding area. But I think there's a certain atmosphere that you get from seeing Shakespeare outdoors with a picnic in that sort of feeling that you just don't get with anything else. It's the RSC have done, I remember them doing Shakespeare outside of the theatre and just going into the park and doing it. And we've toyed with the idea of just doing outdoor theatre wherever it pops up sometimes. And it's interesting, when we were doing 12th Nights, it was just literally, it was the first thing we did out of COVID. And of course we couldn't gather to rehearse. You couldn't go indoors with more than 5 people, which makes it difficult when you're rehearsing. So we went and did it down the park.
Yeah.
We literally just, all of our rehearsals were at Saunders Field near the skate park. And, people would just walk through the middle of us while we were rehearsing and all sorts of things. And it was great. It was, people were kind of wandering up saying, what are you doing? And it's kind of like, do you want a ticket? So it was fun.
I could see that in Shakespeare in Love, people practicing out by the park,
absolutely.
and people wandering through, not understanding what's going on. Yeah,
that's right.
There's a play in that somewhere.
Oh, definitely. Somebody needs to write that.
Yeah. We'll make that happen. So who's hosting you, Richard? Where are you putting the play on?
Well, in previous years, we've kind of stuck to the one venue. We've done it in the Monastery Gardens, which is obviously right in the middle of town on Wind Hill. This year, we decided to kind of move away from that, mainly due to kind of raise costs that we can't afford to be there anymore. So we've decided to go on a touring version, and it's very new for us. It's something we've never really done, but I've deliberately done this as a low-tech performance. I wanted to do something that didn't require lighting, didn't require sound. It literally, it's a group of travelling players with a gazebo. And we approached a number of venues, but the ones we settled on are, I need to get this one right, Bishop Stortford Football Club, obviously, because of the football theme. Then the second performance is at Northgate Primary School in their school field. The one the following weekend is going to be Gibber Gardens Harlow, where we performed before, outside on their lawn, which is absolutely stunning setting. And then the last one is going to be at Birchhanger Sports and Social Club in the beer garden.
That's great. And how can people get tickets to come along and watch?
Well, you can go to our website, waterlanetheatreco.uk, or you can go to there's a link on there. But if you go on our social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, there's links to Ticket Source, where we sell our tickets, which is Ticket Source /Waterlane. Okay. So you can go on there. And it's £10 a ticket.
Easy.
That's all.
And I suppose different venues, you're allowed to bring along your own picnics, or is it all?
Yes, you can. Well, you bring your picnic to all of them.
Right.
Bring your own picnic. Bring a blanket, bring a table, bring chairs. But on a couple of them, on Bishop Stortford Football Club and on Birchhanger Sports and Social Club, they prefer you. Well, I say prefer. They need you to buy drinks from the bar, so you can't bring your own drinks. So you can buy drinks on those. But the other 2 venues, you can bring your own drinks, bring your own picnic.
Fantastic.
As well.
I think it's a wonderful play. I'm really looking forward to seeing the clips of it on all the different venues. I'm sure you put up lots on the socials, and hopefully lots of different people are going along to the different events. Hosting it in different places, I think, is great, because different people will be attracted to different spots.
Yeah, it's a different vibe down at Gibber Garden than it is anywhere else. Obviously, these are all, other than Gibber Gardens, we've never actually performed in any of these places before. But it's we're deliberately rehearsing it so that you could. As I said to people right at the very start, when I was trying to flog this to the committee, it's kind of like we want to get a play that we can literally just lift, move, and put down anywhere we like. So we're staging it so that we can do that. But it's going to be, it's going to be a challenge, because normally you get a week before the play to rehearse in the place you're actually going to do the performance. Now, when we turn up and do the performance, we'll have never done it there before. We'll have never rehearsed there. So it's going to be really interesting.
Are you going to do like a pre-match talk to the audience to kind of give it that, cut us some slack. No?
No.
That's what you've
We're
done here.
going to make them work.
Well, okay. Fine. Great. Sounds awesome.
No, they'll soon get the idea, I think. We tend to kind of, we've got a guy who does our, all of the kind of designs for our posters and leaflets and our program is an absolute genius in terms of the way in which he communicates what we want to say through the visuals that he uses. So there'll be, we'll probably do things like a football program, that sort of thing. Everything's going to be kind of themed. And we've got some very tenuous crowbarred in football jokes into the play, none of which I'm prepared to talk about now.
That's fine.
But you can imagine.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I just think this is fantastic, and hopefully, we'll get the link in the show notes so people can, book tickets for themselves, and we'll promote some of the posters as they go up on socials on the community group as well. Richard, it's brilliant. I'm looking forward to see how it all turns out. I really am.
Fabulous, Ziggy.
Are you ready for some Stortford Spotlight questions now?
By all means, far away.
Excellent. These are 3 super fast questions we ask every guest that comes onto the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast. First question. If you could put one sentence on a billboard in Jackson Square, what would it say and who needs to hear it the most? Come
and see Comedy of Errors at one of our venues. You won't see anything like it anywhere else.
I imagine it's going to be quite unique. Yeah. Great shout out. Thanks, Richard. Okay, question 2. Where do you go in Stortford that you secretly hope never gets too popular?
Can I have 2 of these?
Of course.
One is Southern Country Park. Yeah, there's never too many people around the Southern Country Park, and it's wonderful because of that. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of land that's with so many things in it that's right on our doorstep, and it's very quiet. Long may it stay that way, but it's wonderful to kind of go around. If you want to kind of settle your head around St Michael's Mead Lake and that sort of thing, it's a wonderful place to go. From a more commercial point of view, Albert's on Thorley Park. Yeah, it's a cracking little place, and they've just refurbished it and put an whole upstairs kind of seating area in as well. But the food, the value, the coffee, it's a terrific place to go.
2 great shout-outs there. We've had Jim Hook on, who's the chairman of the Friends of Southern Country Park, on the podcast to talk about all the work that they do there to keep that going.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to hear what they're doing with that space. And Albert's is a great shout, because my experience of that is normally when I'm taking the kids to the playground around the back, and me and a mate of mine have to kind of get a coffee and kind of wrangle the kids and all that kind of stuff. And we always like, this coffee is far too good for a kind of playground coffee. I want to kind of sit somewhere and enjoy this, where rather than chasing them around.
Their scrambled eggs and chorizo is to die for. Yeah,
that's a great show.
It's really nice.
We'll tag them in a clip so that they get a little bit of press on that, Richard. Thanks for that.
Great.
Okay, last question.
Yep.
Who's doing something special in town that more people need to know about?
I'm going to plug somewhere else I'm interested in, which is the Touchpoint organisation in Stansted. Amazing organisation. They do a massive food share. They do Dementia Cafe. They do activities for people, and their focus is on people who are, I'd say, kind of vulnerable and potentially isolated around the area. They're based in Stansted. They kind of go as far as probably about Saffron Walden out to Dunmow, but a lot of it is in Stortford as well. They do some phenomenal work. But they do have a radio station as well called Touchpoint Radio, which we're looking at kind of using. They use as a kind of outreach for people. But they're a phenomenal organisation, and they're always after people to kind of get involved, volunteers and that sort of thing. And they just do brilliant work.
The more that we can do to shine a light on the work that they're doing, the better. So that's a great shout out. Thanks for that, Richard. They're great. You also do a show on their radio show?
Yeah, For My Sins. So we're actually where I started with the organisation. I think you know Richard Hayward, who runs their radio station. He actually asked, it's a bizarre story, but he didn't ask me anything, actually. He put something out on Facebook to say, are there any singer-songwriters around who'd like to come and talk about what they do? So I thought, I'd do that. So I applied in thinking there'd be thousands applying for the thing. Turned out it was just me. So he got me in for an interview, and at the end of the interview, he said to me, look, have you ever considered presenting? And I said, well, no. He said, would you like to? And then here we are. Long story short, I'm about three shows in now. So I run a show called Music Makers, which is a monthly music show for Touchpoint Radio, all based on local people, local songwriters, performers, people who kind of facilitate music. I had the guys in from Stortford Sessions and the Bill and Jeff from the Acoustic Club for the last interview that I had. So it's a monthly show. So it's good fun.
Fantastic.
It's good fun.
Fantastic. Well,
but I'm no Bob Harris.
Oh, you've got the voice. The voice is very, very
Nice.
relaxing. Yeah, it's very good. Very good. Well, good luck with that, Richard, and a good shout out for Touchpoint Radio. Definitely friends of
Thank
the
you.
podcast here. Richard, where's the best place for people to get tickets again? One last shout out.
One last shout out, go to the Water Lane website. That's the thing. If you go to Water Lane Theatre, if you search Water Lane Theatre Company, it'll take you to the website or it'll take you to the social media, and there's links all over the place on there. We don't hold back.
Excellent. We will also link to it in the show notes so people can
Thank you.
grab tickets from listening to this. Richard, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
No worries, Richard. If you've enjoyed this episode, the best way to support the show is to hit follow, leave a quick review on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, or share it on your socials. Maybe share it with someone in town who's not on social media that might be interested in getting out to one of the venues to watch the Water Lane Theatre Company do their latest show. And if you've got someone in town that's investing in the community, sharing stories, making people laugh, cry, drop their name in the comments below and I can reach out and invite them on the podcast. Again, Richard, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
on the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast.